On 10th day of Russia-Ukraine war, Russia has announced a ceasefire in Ukraine from 6 am Greenwich Mean Time or 11:30 am IST to open humanitarian corridors for civilians, Russian media outlet Sputnik has announced. The ceasefire has been announced to facilitate the exit of civilians from Mariupol and Volnovakha. Humanitarian corridors and exit routes agreed with the Ukrainian side, as per Russian Defense Ministry. About 200,000 people are trying to evacuate from Mariupol, which is one of Ukraine's largest ports. Another 20,000 people also want to leave Volnovakha in the Donetsk region. Russian armed forces have encircled Mariupol and Volnovakha, both of which are under Ukrainian control. Russian forces have swept into Melitopol, meeting no resistance during the operation aimed at demilitarizing Ukraine, the Russian Defense Ministry told reporters. Russian aid convoys entered the city of Melitopol and distributed essential commodities to the city residents. The city of Melitopol is under Russian control. Russia is ready to send 130 buses to evacuate stranded Indian students and other foreigners from war-torn Ukraine's Kharkiv and Sumy cities to its Belgorod region, a top Russian military general said on Thursday. The remarks by Russian National Defense Control Center head General Mikhail Mizintsev comes a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Russian President Putin for evacuation of Indians. Officials in the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol on Saturday said they were delaying an evacuation of the civilian population, accusing Moscow's troops of breaking a ceasefire, according to AFP news agency. Due to the fact that the Russian side does not adhere to the ceasefire and has continued shelling both of Mariupol and surrounding areas, the evacuation is delayed for security reasons. The mayor of Mariupol had been pleading on Friday for humanitarian corridors to allow people to flee and bring in food and medical supplies. Mariupol had no water, heat or electricity and is running out of food after coming under attack by Russian forces for the past 5 days, the mayor said. In Volnovakha, the attack has been so intense that dead bodies lie uncollected. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said NATO has given the green light for further bombing of Ukraine, by ruling out a no-fly zone as NATO denied to enter the Ukraine airspace as it will risk a confrontation with Russia. The basic astronaut training center has become functional in the old airport road of Bangalore. While this center, hosting at least 3 types of simulators and other basic training facilities, a larger and more sophisticated astronaut training unit will eventually come up in Chalakere, some 200 kilometers from Bengaluru for future human space programs. The facility will host a variety of simulators and will also have space for theory classes. The syllabus for astronaut training has been finalized and the faculty panel has members from institutions like IISc, IITs, former astronauts, Rakesh Sharma and some former ISRO directors, deputy directors. For practical training, he said ISRO was working on commissioning 3 types of simulators. The Indian Air Force has decided to postpone its firepower demonstration, Vayu-Shakti, scheduled in the Pokhran Ranges in Rajasthan on March due to the developing situation. Amid deepening crisis in Ukraine, the Defense Ministry announced that the 12th edition of the DEF Expo to be held in Gujarat for the first time has been postponed, due to logistics problems being experienced by participants. The triennial exercise, Vayu-Shakti-2022, aimed at showcasing the capability of the IAF to conduct full-spectrum operations, was to see the participation of 148 aircraft and helicopters, including 109 fighter aircraft, 24 helicopters, 7 transport aircraft and 4 unmanned aerial vehicles. The Indian Air Force conducts exercise Vayu-Shakti at the Pokhran range every 3 years to demonstrate its readiness to conduct full-spectrum operations. The last one took place in 2019. The Rafale aircraft was scheduled to participate at exercise Vayu-Shakti for the first time with Prime Minister Narendra Modi as the chief guest. Having successfully deployed and tested the K-9 Vajra howitzers in the Ladakh sector, the Indian Army is now planning to deploy K-9 Vajra howitzers in the high-altitude mountains in the central and eastern sector of the line of actual control with China. The Indian Army had deployed the Made in India guns in Ladakh in the March to April timeframe last year along with the eastern Ladakh sector. The trials of the guns have been very successful, and now the plan is to order 200 more of these howitzers and deploy them in the high-altitude mountainous region in the central sector including Uttarakhand and eastern sector including Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh in areas where armoured vehicles can be moved swiftly. The regiments in Ladakh have built special tents and facilities to operate the howitzers in extreme winters conditions. General Narawane has been monitoring the induction and operations of the howitzers produced in the Larsen and Toubro facility in Hazira near Surat in Gujarat. In the budget of 2022, the government announced that 68% of its defense capital procurement budget would be reserved for domestic organizations. Within a month of this announcement, the largest single VSTOL mini UAV defense contract has been awarded to Idea Forge for its Switch UAV. As a part of this contract, Idea Forge shall deliver 200 systems to augment the Indian Army's surveillance capabilities. Idea Forge won this contract against stiff competition from Israel, Russia, Ukraine, France, India and others. The Switch UAV was the only system that emerged successful from the rigorous testing and field trials of the Indian Army. Lieutenant Gen Vinod Bhatia said, "UAVs are indispensable for ISR. This contract for mini VSTOL UAVs is the result of a 5-year-long intensive procurement procedure.